I saw cows slaughtered, pigs slaughtered and lambs slaughtered. I think what was kind of really sad was hearing the animals. You know, you could hear the noises. It was kind of the smell, the death in the air, and you could see the fear in their eyes. So my name's Shelley. I'm 49 years old. When I was 16, I started off as a young butcher. Just finished school and didn't do very well in my grades, and I was looking and wondering what I was going to do for work. And you know, there was actually a little butcher's in, so I went and saw him, and I got the job. Back then, I didn't make any real association that was once a living, breathing animal. In my past, I worked for about 25 years in total in the meat industry. I saw cows slaughtered, pigs slaughtered and lambs slaughtered. I think what was kind of really sad was hearing the animals. You know, you could hear the noises. It was kind of the smell, the death in the air, and you could see the fear in their eyes. People have said to me, I suppose, because you was there, that's what made you go vegan, but it wasn't, because, you know, the fact of the matter is I really didn't kind of care too much. Ultimately, I think that's what enables you to kind of get on and do the job. Part of our induction into the kind of meat industry, we were required to go to a slaughterhouse. We kind of got off the coach, and when we started to go in, there was an area outside, and some guys were kind of sitting there. We see this one particular guy, and he had literally like blood splattered all around his face, and it was kind of like a little bit scary looking, because you're thinking, well, why is this guy just sitting there casually eating his food, and he's sort of kind of covered in blood. We were going to see what was going on there, but we were going to get to see, you know, ultimately this cow be killed. When we looked at her, I remember kind of looking over and looking behind us, and she kind of let out this kind of big moan. You know, she was, obviously she could hear what was going on, and I remember looking at her, and as she looked back at me, I could see these kind of big brown docile eyes, and the guy standing above her then used what's known as a captive bolt gun, and he literally just bolted her straight in the head, and then she collapsed and then rolled out underneath, and then they shackled her up, took a boning knife, and then stuck her in the neck in the carotid artery and cut her and bled her out. And yeah, I mean, we were 16 years old, so it was kind of like all a bit, and of course it did have an effect. I didn't think it did, but I tried to brush that aside. But I think for most people, they wouldn't be able to do it, and if they saw that, they might have a different view. Yeah, so as part of my job, on one occasion we were going to go and visit a sister site within the company, and it was a poultry processing plant or slaughterhouse. They were in these like crates, and they were all kind of cramped in there and fluttering around and probably wondering what on earth was going on. As we went in, they were taking the modules out, taking these chickens and kind of shackling them up. The person that went to shackle one of the chickens up, I don't know what happened. I don't know if they quite got them on the shackles. They must have missed, so a chicken fell to the floor. And I was looking at the woman that was on the line and said to her, I think one's got away. And she said to me, don't worry, we'll get her. We always get them. And that kind of was like, yeah, a bit of a moment for me. I thought, poor little thing, you know, it's not going to get away. I was kind of one of those old school people, you know, where I believed to have food and have something on my plate, there needed to be, you know, there needed to be animal protein. My son had gone vegan. And he was talking to me about it, and I really didn't want to hear it. So we both used to kind of have a bit of a discussion, and it could turn into a bit of a heated debate. And he did speak to me and say about, well, why don't you try and watch like Cowspiracy or What the Health? And I wanted to prove my son wrong, so I kind of, when no one was around, decided, yeah, all right, I'll have a look at it. So I watched Cowspiracy first, and I sat there and I watched it, and I was kind of like, wow, yeah, okay, what kind of whatever. And I watched What the Health, and I thought there were some points, valid points, and it was just starting to connect the dots a little bit, really. So I started to take certain things out of my diet. What really ultimately done it for me was I watched Land of Hope and Glory. As I was watching it, I saw this little piglet, and it done nothing to no one, and it obviously just wanted to survive. I think it might have been fell sort of between some slats, but it couldn't get to its mother, and it was obviously really poorly. It was ill, and it literally took its last couple of breaths. And died, and the mother, you could see, was kind of like stressed. She couldn't get to her baby, she couldn't do anything because it was out of range, because she was kept in this awful crate. And yeah, it just made me kind of feel really emotionally upset. So I had to switch it off. I sat there and I cried, and I decided yeah, I couldn't be part of it anymore, and decided to go vegan. Since going vegan, obviously I'd come to realise that not only do animals not need to die, they do not want to die. And I can not only survive, but I can thrive on plants. I've been running for approximately 10 years. So there's one event that I've done, which is 145 miles. Before I went vegan, I didn't quite manage it. 3 times I failed it. And then I went vegan, and it was the 4th attempt I actually completed it. Plants give me everything I need. And one of the benefits I have noticed is that when I've done the longer runs is the recovery. I recover a lot quicker. So yeah, June the 23rd this year, I'll be 50 years old, and I'll be towing the line, as they say, for the Thames Ring 250, which is a 250-mile race. We've got 4 days to complete it in, and I'll be doing this purely powered by plants. And in doing this, I'm raising money and awareness for Food for Life Global. They're a 100% vegan charity that feed the most impoverished throughout the world plant-based food. Really just showing people that, you know, I can complete in these events, and that I don't need anything from animals, and nothing needs to be harmed in the process.